What's going on? Welcome to VanGo After Dark.
We've got some interesting topics. The Cyborg age. We're going to talk a little bit about cactus fruit and how cactus fruit was a big part of our initial fruit flavors and why we chose cactus.
By Cyborg, we don't talk. We're not trying to talk about those post-apocalyptic shows and stuff like that. By Cyborg, it means that not necessarily your body is parts of machines. It's more about your mind. And so when your mind, if you use a computer efficiently, if you use a phone efficiently, but actually using your phone and using your computer, using the calendars, the reminders, this kind of stuff. So you're basically taking parts of machines and putting your brain, or taking your brain and putting it into machines, like phones. And that's what we mean by Cyborg.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how the different ages. So back in the 40s, 50s, obviously innovation is driven by demand, and demand for manufactured products started going through the roof. And so we started the machine age. And so how do we, the way we saw it affect people was, in a way, that was the beginning of the early cyborg days, where instead of car factories having the cars being made by humans, they slowly started bringing machines. And so instead of having 100 humans, you'd supplement with a couple metal bending, you'd supplement with paint machines, and you started getting more and more machinery until you look at what it is now, where we've gone fully into the machine age. You're not going to have people sitting there doing things by hand unless it's very connoisseur. And so what has happened now is that in the 90s, they started introducing more and more technology, actual computers into this whole thing. And what's interesting about computers is it not only enhances our bodies, but now it's enhancing our mind. The word cyborg is so applicable because right now, we can pretty much ask anyone in the world. You can ask them any question about anything. They'll have the answer. They can tell you all kinds of crazy stuff. They can show you pictures from around the world.
You don't even need to ask anyone. You just ask your phone. Hey Siri,
Look, she's listening all the time. It completely changed the way that we look at things. And so with that, the only difference between us and cyborgs is that we have to have this physical connection with the other side of our brain, which is our phones. And then our phones is also our laptops, our TVs, all of our stuff, all the things that we use to enhance our life and enhance our brain. Our brains can't remember all these phone numbers. Someone right now, I can pick it up and I could call someone on the other side of the world. For example, how do I even know their phone number and how am I able to call them? So these are all things that are completely impossible.
How many phone numbers do you actually know? Maybe your own and maybe your wife's phone number. That's about it.
I know 2 numbers. I'm trying to think. Actually, I know a few people from here because we haven't changed our numbers in a while. But it's impossible to keep track of all this stuff.
So that's basically the cyborg mentality. When we're always talking about cyborg, that's what we're talking about, is harnessing the technology that we have available and using it to the best of our ability.
So that's kind of what has allowed us to do what we do with our flavors. So we came into the industry. We didn't want to be just another company with another 3-4 flavors. We wanted to really go into the connoisseur side of things. But with vaping, because of all the crazy amounts of variables you have, it is a potential nightmare. You have so many SKUs. One flavor, Cactus Django, it itself is about 50 or 60 flavors or 100 of them when you start considering all the SKUs, especially now that with the UK.
Yeah, let's see. We got just on the Canadian side, we got 0, 3, 6, 12, 18 in 30 mils, 60 mils, 120 mils, and then we got salt nicks 20, 35, and 50. So that's 3. It's a lot of variables. It's a shit ton of variables. Imagine trying to do all that stuff with pen and paper. Using doing the calculations on even a calculator or whatever. It would be impossible. We would never be able to have the amount of flavors that we do have now.
It's really interesting, and the way that it affects business is so huge. Going along, looking at our operation, if our operation existed, let's say 20, 30 years ago, first of all, we'd have to charge way more because we need 3 times more staff. Once upon a time, you'd have teams of admins because you didn't have things like QuickBooks and all these other things, QuickBooks and Gmail and Google Apps and all these other programs that do most of the job for you. Accountant, we have one accountant that takes care of all the numbers in this whole place. He does the AR, AP, payroll, bookkeeping, financial, he does everything. Yeah. But it's because he's a cyborg that has all his brain is already working all the time.
We usually have between 15 to 20 employees. And you know how many admins we have? 0. We have 0 admins. When you pick up the calls, when you pick your phone up to call us, if you're looking for sales, you'll talk to me or Chris.
And the robot.
If you're looking for customer service, yeah, exactly. The robot will be like, hey, who do you need to speak to, basically? You need to speak to customer service issues, you're going to talk to Cyber. You need to speak to production issues, you'll talk to someone else.
And it goes to his phone.
Yeah, exactly. The cell phone, I don't have to pick something up and hello, this is, and I know who it is when I'm calling. So if I miss your call, then it's a purpose. No, I'm kidding.
It really changed everything. And I think the more we embrace this whole, the new mentality or the new way of thinking, the more we'll be able to thrive and like really do well in this new age, because it's not so much about what it was once upon a time. It really is like cutting down how much time you spend on things. So even with your phone, coming up with all these little shortcuts and making sure you're using your phone in the most efficient way. Like if you're using some antique little keyboard and you don't have shortcuts, you don't have apps helping you use your phone, you're just wasting your time. You're interacting with the other side of your brain in such a slow format. Why not upgrade that?
We all have a very limited amount of time, and so say you're messing around with your phone. It's an older phone and stuff, so it's kind of slow, and that takes away 15 minutes per day. Every week, that's like over an hour, right? Every month, that's close to 6-7 hours. 6-7 hours. If you paid $20 an hour, that's $150. You just lost $150 every month because you have an old shitty phone.
And it's like interesting because when you start taking the economic principles of it, the opportunity cost, or like even the instead of losing 150, if you were to gain time, you can't even start to compute. It's like within 2 years, your whole life is a whole new path because of small little changes.
Butterfly effect. Right?
It's such a butterfly effect, especially with this age. It's the cyborg age. Even like looking at our computers, I'm really spoiled when it comes to computers, but it really drives me nuts when the computer is slow because it's like it's just not keeping up. That means it should be snap. It's like when I want to move my hand, I'm not like move. So that was so frustrating, and so that's what you feel like you really just gotta become one with the computer. And so like when you feel these things, it really is like you're just slowed down. You're wasting your time away, and it's so interesting the effect of how like if I had for 1 year, if I had a shitty laptop and a shitty phone versus what I have now, I wouldn't even be where I am. I'd be so lost. It'd take me, instead of taking 5 minutes to quickly go through all my emails, it's taking me 10 minutes. And like that's just one example. Someone sends me a notification on like, instead of taking 10 seconds, it took 20 seconds. And it's just like production. If every single bottle took extra 3 seconds, we'd start losing a lot of money very quick. And so with us and with the new philosophy of business, is the cyborg's time is worth so much more, because right now, as I'm speaking to you, I'm also speaking to someone else who's watching my other video. And I'm also speaking to someone else who's looking at my picture and reading this thing. Or maybe Keezer's talking to someone in some email he sent yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, so your cyborg self is constantly out there doing things. You're just one little man in your physical world, while your cyborg is out there doing his thing all day.
All these messages you're sending and stuff, it doesn't reach them till tonight, till tomorrow. But all these things are having interactions with each other. Your Facebook profile, you set it up last, a year ago, and you have a profile picture from when you were 25 or whatever, and that itself is interacting every day. People look at your profile, it's like having an introduction to you, and you're getting introduced so many times. So being on top of your cyborg self, your virtual self is super important. That's what we try to do here.
And I think that's what a lot of people are having a lot of challenge with in coming into this cyborg age. And we saw it a lot more like 10 years ago, where people were going and putting ridiculous stuff on their Facebook. Mm-hmm. You're making your own cyborg look like a clown, and you're wondering why you're getting treated that way. We live in a cyborg world. My cyborg personality will go check out your cyborg personality, and it'll respond with, this is what he's like. And so it's like, you have to be cognizant of this new age, because you will, and you can't even deny it.
Think about like when we're hiring people, there's not like, before anything, even to be honest, even before I actually read the resume, I'll go to their Facebook page or their LinkedIn page. I'll go Google them and find research. And then I'll be like, okay, this guy seems like they're pretty decent. And then I'll look in the resume. So, that's very important, I believe. The one thing that, cyborgs can't, not cyborgs, but the machines can't do, however, is the creativity aspect. And, it's not enough to be some kind of a cyborg, it's not enough to be a computer. And even AI, it's not enough. You also got to have that imagination and that creativity. You can use cyborgs to get that. You can be reading books on your phone on the go or whatever. You can be, watching cool videos on your phones or whatever. You don't have to go to the movies. You don't have to go to Blockbuster, rent a movie, and come back. So you can actually improve, your personal, your mind, the creative stuff that machines just can't do this way. And one example is our top 2 flavors are Cactus Django and Frozen Ophelia. You know what the main ingredient in those 2 are? It's cactus. Exactly, it's cactus, right? So we use our creativity and stuff, and we use cactus. Another cactus flavor, which is actually the flavor of the week, is this guy right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's Ophelia.
I really miss the old artwork.
Yeah, the girl, right? Yeah. But Ophelia, it's my baby. I vaped it. Like, this is literally the only thing I vaped for 2 years. So if you sent me juice, I'm sorry, I probably didn't try it because I only vape Ophelia.
Elon Musk has a lot of good talks about this, and he says like AI will be the downfall of humans. We need to focus on the cyborg relationship, and we need to enhance this relation while we're using our fingers. This needs to be tapped into our brain.
Just think about the apps that you can now have to translate. You don't need a translator. You can travel anywhere in the world and be like, I need to speak in Chinese. Tell this person, hey, how you doing? How's your day? And they can say it right there. I think in the future it'll be a chip, and it'll tell your mind what to say.
This is just the pre-installed chip. This is like the chip pre-installed.
Yeah.
Basically, like even when I go traveling, sometimes I'll just take my phone because I have a dock, and you just put the dock on. It's attached to the TV, and then this thing turns into a little mouse, and it basically, this becomes everything. And even like I go out, I don't really need my wallet because I have my ID as a digital version. So I'll show them my digital ID. My credit card is on my phone. I just use it. It really is such a big extension of ourselves. It's the cyborg age.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for joining. I know it's a little bit of a short one today, but we actually had to run on a few things. We will be touching base again next week, and we'll be launching actually a series of YouTube shows under 10X's. So a lot more to come about that. Stay tuned, stay posted, and
Flavor of the week, Ophelia. Be like me, vape Ophelia. Yeah.
Catch some of that cactus.